the City podcast.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Another edition of Keys to the City after a long layoff. We are back better than ever. But you can check us out for live shows. You can check us out at Facebook, YouTube, as well as Clovercrest Media YouTube page too. If you don't get to check out, you can check out the link at StreamYard or Spotify. It's been a while, man. It's been like, 2 weeks since we've done a show? I got to get back into the groove of things. But it is, but yes, we are on other social media platforms, iTunes, like I said, Spotify. If you do not get to check out,
just Google our name, you'll see it. You'll find it.
Yeah, but sometimes people spell it Keys or T-O. I forget like the keys. Our name is Keyes, and then well, we live in America. Sometimes people are a little more. We're moronic too. We're morons at times too. But
America.
That's what makes us great. But like last night, like I say each and every week, I swear to God, I feel like I should be a millionaire with the amount of times I've said it. Each and every week, it's a to-be-determined week. We do not know what to expect, and last night was just another definition of what this NFL season has brought to all football fans. And we've seen it multiple times in Monday Night Football games, where the team that we all expect to win, eventually loses. And there's no more undefeated teams, ladies and gentlemen, after this 2022-2023 season. So Dolphins fans, relax, sit back. You have another year to say that you're the only team in NFL history to be undefeated. But I wanted to talk about, speaking of last night, and then we'll talk about the AFC West, the disappointment. We're going to do something completely different this week. We're going to be talking about little debates. We're going to give it to, like people like to say, true or false, love it or shove it. We're going to call it lock it or unlock it in the sense of our terms, because our name is Keys to the City. So what do you do with the keys? You got to lock it or you got to unlock it. So I'm going to give a couple statements, little questions, 4 questions right now with regards to the AFC West and the NFC/AFC East right now, because these two, you look at these conferences right now. Let me give you a brief little overhaul of it. You look at these two conferences, or these two divisions, these 3 divisions, I should say. Coming into this year, fool's gold for the AFC West. We thought this was going to be the greatest division by far in the history of the NFL. With the trades, the moves, the quarterbacks that were involved in this, it's been anything but. It's been other than a catastrophic. I don't know what to think of this division other than the Chiefs. Thank God for the Chiefs, because if not for the Chiefs, this division, like I said, would be an embarrassment to the NFL. And then you look at the AFC East and the NFC East. Both of these divisions, the AFC East, we all know, has been dominated for a majority of the past 20 years by the New England Patriots. Now the Buffalo Bills have been taking a hold of it, but not for long, maybe. We will see. And then the NFC East, not too long ago, it was the laughingstock of the NFL. Well, right now, you look at their division records. Both, by far, have overwhelming winning percentages. So, Ted, I'm going to start off with you. Lock it or unlock it. That's how we're going to call it for today. The first question. You look at these 8 teams right now. The Eagles, 8-1. The Giants, 7-2. The Cowboys, 6-3. And then the Washington Commanders now at 5-5. And then you look at the AFC East. The Bills are at 6-3. The Jets are at 6-3. The Dolphins are at 7-3. First place right now. And the New England Patriots are 5-4. So all 8 teams are over 500 winning percentage football. Right now, the AFC East is 24-13. That's a 64.86. Rounded up, we'll go 65 winning percentage. And then the NFC East is 26-11. That's a 70 win percentage. So, Ted, lock it or unlock it. Will one of the 8 teams in the AFC/NFC East be hoisting the Super Bowl trophy this year?
I still say no.
So I still say no.
Because I'm going to go with I'm going to say.
So you're unlocking it.
So I'm unlocking it. That's how we're gonna do it. So unlocking means
locking means it's a lock.
So we're not gonna lock it. Okay. I still think with the NFC East. Listen, I'm a huge Giant fan. You are too. Listen, I'm a realistic Giant fan. Okay, this team is overachieving. It is honestly, it's been so much fun to watch the Giants. I was just there this past Sunday to see a full crowd, to hear the excitement, to know the Giants are in every game is great. I just know when it comes down to the playoffs, they don't have the guys to be able to win a championship, okay? So I'm eliminating them. Dallas, listen, I think Dallas is talented enough, but I think you're going to get a typical Dallas performance in one of the playoff games. You're going to get a game of what if and all the excuses. And I don't know if Dak is ready to be able to cover their problems. So that really, when I look at the division, I could do this forever, and I don't want to do this, but it really comes down to the Bills and the Eagles, and I don't trust those two teams right now. The Bills, as talented as they are, they might have more flaws than we really experiencing. Okay, and their problem with not being able to run the football might bite them in the rear end, and they might not have the number one seed, which changes the whole ball game. So I'm going to go with my original prediction when we started this show in September. I had an NFC West team and I had an AFC West team. I had the 49ers versus the Chargers in the Super Bowl. I'm just going to flip it. It's not going to be the Chargers. I still think right now you're looking at a rematch from a couple years ago. 49ers Chiefs right now would be my prediction of the Super Bowl, if that's what you want to know. I think the 49ers, when they get all their pieces back, and they're slowly getting all their pieces back, they're one of the most talented teams. Now, does that mean they win football games? Absolutely not. But you can just watch that defense. It's dominant, right? Bosa is a wreck out. He wrecks the whole house. Fred Warner is one of the best linebackers thing. The secondary is great. The coaching's good. McCaffrey is a stud. Elijah Mitchell in the backfield. So they can go multiple facets. You got Debo. You got Brandon Ayuk. You got George Kittle. You got one of the best left tackles in Trent Williams. And you got Jimmy G, who, when he doesn't turn the ball over, is 7-0. I mean, or 8-0 or whatever. I forget what it is. I know they're not 8-0 in the season, but when he doesn't turn the ball over, they win games. They dominate. They've been there before. And then the Chiefs, really, honestly, how are you going to go against the Chiefs? They're probably going to get the number one seed. They're going to get home field advantage again throughout the playoffs. Their hardest part of their regular season is over. Remember when you and me were talking about the show in the beginning of the season? Like, look at the Chiefs' first 8 games, bro. It's like all stacked teams. Yeah. Now they've taken care of business. And that division, who we, like you started this show off with, when you said, man, we thought the NFC West was going to be one of the best divisions ever. You got to play the Raiders and Chargers and Denver. I mean, you're looking at like that, like when the Patriots played the AFC East 10 years ago when Brady was there. Yeah. So I would take the Chiefs, and I would still take the 49ers. And so I think either. No,
I'm just see.
Doesn't mean you might have 6 teams in the playoffs. You might have 3 in the AFC East and 3 in the NFC in the playoffs. I just don't think right now they're good enough to win the Super Bowls. I'll still take those 2 other teams right now, today on November 15th.
I mean, when you look at all 8 of these teams right now, they all have strong suits to components to advance deep into the playoffs and even win Super Bowls. You see that
Miami's got an explosive offense.
You see that the Eagles got a well-balanced attack. Look, that's the best thing that could have happened probably to the Philadelphia Eagles, because now the pressure is fully off. You don't have to worry about,
Did you even hear A.J. Brown's, not to cut you off, but excuse me, but if you heard A.J. Brown's press conference last night after the game, it was our post-game press conference. He would have said, well, now you don't have to ask us about the undefeated season. Almost like, hey, listen, it's over with. Now we can get back to football and focus.
And that's the best thing that can ever happen to a team. I know, look at the Eagles. They're frauds. No, they're not. I mean, they're 8-1 for a reason. I mean, you play who you are. You play on your schedule who you have. And if you win every game, you win every game. So stop knocking the Philadelphia Eagles. They're a good football team. They're a well-balanced team. They just finally had a hiccup in their schedule, and that was the best thing that could ever happen. Now you can get back to just worrying about your game plan and not having to worry about the pressure. Then you just look at the rest of the AFC East or the NFC East. The Giants have been playing miraculous, and they got one of the great components in football too right now. They got coaching. The Cowboys, they got defense. The Commanders, I mean, they got heart. They believe in Taylor Heineke, and you could go a long way with all this. Then the AFC East, the Jets, great defense. The Bills, they got a superstar quarterback. The Dolphins, explosive offense, solid defense, and a good coaching staff. And then the Patriots, you got Bill Belichick. So all 8 of these teams have true components to advance and win a Super Bowl. But I'm going to agree with you on it too. I'm going to say unlock it right now, currently on November 15th. It could change. I'm not trying to get off of the Buffalo Bills bandwagon. But what I saw on Sunday, if they're going to continue to be so one-dimensional and so heavily reliant on 17 to win games, that's great, but it's not going to win you a Super Bowl. You have to manage a way to run the football. And if you can't run the football, you are not going to win in this league, or you're not going to win a Super Bowl. You can win in this league with that offense. But if you're one-dimensional like the Buffalo Bills are, you're not going to win a Super Bowl. They have to establish some sort of run game.
And if you look at their record in one-possession games, they're like 2-9, 2-11. Like their record when one-possession games down the wire, they don't do well. They struggle. And maybe the 2 biggest games in the last 2 seasons, they were involved in both Minnesota and regular season.
You know what? I'm still going to stick.
Listen, it's not that they're not good enough and they can't refocus, but the whole thing where they were so dominant, you have to reevaluate your thought. He's still dealing with an injury, Josh Allen, so we don't know. They might not have home field advantage. They're not even the division leader right now. All right.
No.
And the division that we once thought was going to be easy for the Bills to run through, all 4 teams are above 500. So as much as they still
all 8 teams, all 8 of these teams right now are all above 500.
500 or above. So for the Bills, it's going to be a tougher road. And here's the thing: Baltimore's getting healthy. Cincinnati's super dangerous. You know that. They've done it before. They proved it last year, especially if they get Chase back. You got Baltimore. Tennessee, the Giants might be the closest thing to Tennessee or vice versa. No receivers, but a quarterback doesn't turn the ball, and a great running game and great coaching. Maybe the 2 best coaches in football, and Mike Vrabel and Brian Dable. And then, like you said, the West, as much as I like the Seattle story, I think that story is going to end.
All right, let's get it.
And I think the 49ers, if they can stay healthy and nothing drastic happens, they're talented, bro. And I'm
gonna stay with the Bills on this one. I'm not gonna get off the Bills bandwagon because I've been on them all season. I still believe they're gonna come out of the AFC. It's gonna be tough, but let's get into question 2 of our lock it or unlock it. We're gonna go over to the AFC West and then we'll come back talking about the NFC East. Ted, there's been a few disappointments this season. From the moves that we've seen, 2 of them could be in the AFC West, some could be in the AFC South, maybe the NFC West. But, Ted, I'm going to ask you because you were really high on this team, and then I'll give you my take. Broncos have been the most disappointing team in the NFL. Lock it or unlock it for you?
I think absolutely lock it. And it's just not their record. It's just the way they've played. They've been poor. I mean, Russell Wilson looks like a shell of himself, bro. And I don't know if he's dealing with an injury. I don't know if it's coaching. I just don't know if it's unfamiliarity with a new season. But, I mean, Tom Brady walked into Tampa and had no problem winning a Super Bowl. I mean, we've seen quarterbacks go from one team to another and not have the issues they've had. I mean, I was going to say something bad, but crap. Even Carson Wentz went from the Philadelphia Eagles and to the Colts. And, I mean, I know they didn't make the playoffs, but he did a lot better with the Colts than – I mean, this team is awful, bro. Yeah. Awful. I mean, we're looking at this team like I had them like wild card, maybe like 10 wins this year, 10-7 maybe, Russell Wilson, maybe a late MVP type of guy. I mean, you got Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler. You had 2 good running backs. Figured Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator from Green Bay, would bring in a system. It would work. They would flow. That defense is studly. You got Bradley Chubb. You got Patrick Surtain. You got other pieces that I'm not familiar with, but they play great defense. Good thing they play great defense because they might have a win all season.
Yeah.
So, and now we're, a couple of weeks we're talking, they trade one of their best players in Bradley Chubb. You're like, should we tank? It's like tank for Tua, but we're not really, for Tua. But I mean, absolutely. I think the expectation is when you make the significant trade that they made in the offseason, I wish, excuse me, I wish we had a picture of it, but excuse me, it might go down as one of the worst NFL trades of all time. It might be close. This trade might go down as the Herschel Walker trade. This could eventually set up Seattle for the future because they've already hit on the players in their draft picks this year. They got 2 more draft picks coming up in this coming season. So everything that they've traded for has worked for Seattle. And for Denver, you gave them an extension too. You didn't even wait till the offseason. You gave them an extension. So you're booked to Russell Wilson for the next 5 to 6 years.
So do you want me to give – I'll give you the trade right now.
So you got the picture.
So Denver received Russell and a 2022 4th-round pick. Seattle received Drew Lock, who's not even the quarterback. Shelby Harris, defensive lineman. Noah Fant, who's been a nice addition for that offense. Denver's 2022 and 2023 first-round picks. 2022 and 2023 second-round picks. And Denver's 2022 5th-round pick. So the Denver Broncos,
their starting cornerback, their starting left tackle, the linebacker May, I believe what was he from Wisconsin? No, Minnesota. Outside linebacker, pass rusher. So all 3 of the guys they picked this year are starters on the defense. Well, starter on the defense and offense.
Oh no, this is upcoming. This isn't even this year. That wasn't even last year.
They had picks this year. They had picks from this past year.
Not this. No, because he got traded in March. Oh wait, did he? When did he get traded?
Yeah, we got Trev. How do you think they got their 2 first-round picks and they got Wooten, the quarterback? That all came from Seattle. Get with the program, bro.
I'm losing the train of I'm trying to. My train of thought. But what yeah,
like I said, 3 draft picks this year, all panned out, all performing on the team. This team is awful. They're going to have a top 5 pick next year. Oh, wait, they won't have a top 5 pick because they traded it away to Seattle.
They
So
won't have a
how is
first or
Seattle?
they won't have a first or second round pick this year. I give you some stats of just how bad this team is. I'm locking it. I know that I could say the Raiders, and I get it because I was very high on the Raiders. That's probably just a fool's gold for me too, because it's the Las Vegas / Oakland Raiders. They just haven't been good for so long. They've had one great year, and I feel for Derek Carr. I really do. You go get Devontae Adams, go get Chandler Jones. You think that team's gonna compete? They've had so many. They've had six one-possession losses this year, just like the Minnesota Vikings last year. The Denver Broncos, they're just the most. They're inept. They're incompetent. They're averaging right now 14.6 points per game as a team. Last in the NFL by far. Like I said, and we just talked about, Seattle has Denver's pick. Russ has a QBR, 32.9. The only one who has had it worse was Trevor Siemian of 2017 at 30.9. They were averaging from 2012 to 2014 32.7 points per game, first in the league. Since then, Ted, 19 and a half. That's 31st in the league. They've scored 33 points or more 6 times in 122 games since. And the red zone of scoring, just how bad they've been, is at 35%, dead last. And they are 31st in crucial first downs at 28.5 this season. So this team has been anything but impressive. Nathaniel Hackett, my God, it's an awful hire. Everybody wants to, you know what, with this Bill Cowher thing saying it's a disgrace that Jeff Shadow. No, it's a disgrace that a guy like Nathaniel Hackett got a head coaching job. Because he's had, look at all the profession he's had. He had Aaron Rodgers. Look at what a joke he's been. Bill Cowher, I love you. I love your attitude. I love your mentality. But shut it. Okay? Shut it. Because you know what, Jeff Saturday, I get it that he came out of nowhere and does he deserve it? What about Gus Bradley? Did he deserve a chance? Look, Jim Irsay gave it a shot. They won their first game to beat the Raiders. But don't sit here and say it's a disgrace that a guy like Jeff Saturday, who's literally been in the locker rooms, has been the center, has seen everything, has been the center for 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning, in his career. He has seen it all. He's seen the game behind the scenes and on the field. He knows it all. So how are you going to bash a guy and then you're going to praise a guy like Nathaniel Hackett? Well, he's a head coach. He's had assistant head coaching opportunities. He's a joke. He sucks. That team is a joke. Russell Wilson and Daniel Hackett has been awful. They are by far the most disappointing team in the NFL because of just how putrid they've been. I know that they have a better record than the Raiders. I know that the Colts haven't been impressive either, or the Rams. But this team, what they traded for Russell Wilson, what they signed him
That's
to,
what makes it worse.
And yes, exactly. And with the way that this with the way this coaching staff has been, Nathaniel Hackett specifically.
Russell, I mean, bro.
We're already talking about maybe Nathaniel Hackett getting fired.
They are a joke. If I'm a Broncos fan, if I could go back in time and flip the script, I'm saying I'll stick with Drew Lock and the quarterback I have or draft one because the Russell Wilson experiment is
awful.
It's dead.
Yeah, that's the awful trade.
Honestly, I bet the Broncos can't wait till the offseason. And then you just wonder how does their future set up going forward? Knowing
I'll tell you what, they got to wait until 2024.
Well, yeah, but you have that much money invested in your quarterback. He's there for 7 more years.
Oh, don't forget, the good thing is Denver does get Miami's first-round pick, I believe, this year because of Bradley Chubb.
Oh.
So they do have a first-round pick, but it's going to be in the high 20s right now because the Dolphins are playing great. So, yes, we're both in agreement right now. That's 2 for 2. Okay, let's see what happens on this one. This one where I think we could have a little difference. Lock it or unlock it, part 3. We'll get back into the NFC East. The New York Giants will go farther in the playoffs than the Dallas Cowboys this year. Ted, lock it or unlock it?
Honestly, for me, it's all depending on who they play. And you like, well, Ted, you're not answering the question.
Answer the question. Lock it or unlock it?
So let's see. The Giants right now are the 5 seed.
Playing Tampa. Dallas played Seattle.
So Dallas will probably end up with a better record than the Giants. Just because I think the Giants' schedule down. Giants will be the 6th seed, beat Seattle. Cowboys will lose to Tampa. So I'll say lock it. The Giants will make it farther in the playoffs than the Cowboys. Lock it. I just think if the Giants, but here's the difficult question: can Seattle hold on to that division?
Yeah, because San Fran's only a half game back.
Because if not, both of the NFC East teams might be knocked out in the first round. Because I told you last week, I thought Tampa, that win against the Rams could definitely propel them going forward. I saw something at the end of the game. I'm like, sometimes a game can motivate a team. And I'm like, all right, they got that one, and they weren't supposed to. They didn't play good enough. And I'm like, everyone's like, Seattle, they're not good enough. Tampa, and I'm like, you know what? That's a long road trip for Seattle. I mean, that's a long road trip. I mean, you're literally coming across the globe. I mean, you're going.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how.
That's a tough loss.
Tampa Bay's a more talented team. We know that, but they have not performed. You're just wondering though if they can, if Captain Brady can keep that ship afloat just to the end of the season. You know, listen, Godwin and Evans get healthy and start gelling with Brady. You know, the what's it, second year back out of Vanderbilt, Rashad White. He's been explosive
No, that was Vaughn, Rashad Vaughn. Right,
Rashad
the kid
Vaughn.
White's been the kid came out of nowhere actually. Rashad White,
He looked good. What do you have? Like 18 carries last week for 108 yards.
He's been very impressive.
Still brings the power back. Brady's still Brady. You know, you have confidence in him. That defense, almost like they got kicked in the butt from all the bad talk. And Devin White's still a stud. They got some pass rushers. They can listen. They can make noise. So, but this question was all about the Giants. Get back to the Giants. Listen, I think it's the matchup. I think both of them.
I'm gonna go with.
I said Lockett. I'll listen right now. I'll say Lockett because at the end of the day, I'll look at these two teams and say, you know what? Yeah, the Cowboys might be more talented, but I'll trust Brian Daboll coaching and getting his team better prepared than the Dallas Cowboys, even if they are more talented to the team that they play.
I mean, I should just go to the next question because I was just going to say the same thing. It's Lockett. I mean, it's very simple. Look, the Dallas Cowboys, are they more talented team than the New York Giants? Absolutely. Yes. If you put the top 10 players from both of these teams, you're probably putting
two Giants.
You're probably putting Saquon. You're putting Andrew Thomas. Dexter Lawrence is there because Dexter Lawrence, I don't know if
and maybe even Leonard Williams.
And Leonard Williams. Those right there, those four players right there. I mean, you're thinking, okay, 6-4, it's not as bad as you think. You got some foundational pieces on that Giants team. I get the offense. Look, the Dallas Cowboys have their own problems with Dak Prescott. It's kind of like the Kirk Cousins factor. I just don't trust him enough to ever win a Super Bowl. And I just seeing how last Sunday went against Green Bay, the game is theirs, and they find a way to just lose it. And Ted just said it perfectly. It comes down to coaching. I mean, do we really trust Mike McCarthy? Really? In situations? It's like Kirk Cousins. Do we really trust Kirk Cousins? I know he won his biggest game probably in his career last week against coming back from Buffalo. But do we really trust Kirk Cousins to go win a Super Bowl? Do we really trust Mike McCarthy? Like, do we really trust Mike McCarthy when it comes to late game situations? The man don't know how to coach late game situations. At least Brian Daboll, like, I get it.
Well, here's the other thing. Hold on.
You just got to think. I know. You just got to think. You got to just think of what Daboll has been doing with the team that has been what he has surrounded. It's been nothing short of just fascinating.
Look at Mike Vrabel for the Titans. Same thing. Literally got no outside talent, no super studs, just great coach. Listen, they did not have a first down in the whole second half against the Chiefs last weekend on Sunday Night Football, and they still were beating Chiefs or holding the Chiefs from dominating that game. Like, they didn't have a first down the whole second half, and they still almost beat the Chiefs. They don't make mistakes. Dallas, and maybe it's not Mike McCarthy, but you run the ball 6 times in the whole.
I just think it is. I think it is
6 times in the fourth quarter when you're up 2 touchdowns.
Look,
I read hold on one thing and I'll let you finish. Dallas, I was reading on Yahoo yesterday. Dallas was 195-0.
I know.
0.
Here's
when they had a 2-touchdown lead going into the fourth quarter. They blew it.
Well, here's what I was going to say also with this. These two teams, I just said it in the first part when we were talking about the AFC and NFC East. These two teams have 2 things going very strongly for them. I'd even give the Giants maybe even more. I would give them 3. Both teams have great running games, running attacks. We already know how great Dallas's defense is. They cause turnovers. They get to the quarterback. That's what you got to do in the playoffs to win. The Giants, they've had a pretty good defense too. Turnovers right now, if you look at both of these teams right now, defensively, top 10. Or offensively, actually, I should say. Giants are 3rd right now, rushing yards per game. And Dallas is 8th. Then you look at Dallas, 1st in sacks, 35. 4th in turnovers. The Giants are in 6th. So both of these teams, I know that the Giants defense isn't like star-studded, but they're doing their part. I give the edge to because the Giants have Brian Dable, and I know it's his first season, but with the
Well,
way
Wink
he's been
Martindale, you trust?
Kafka, I just don't trust this Dallas Cowboys coaching staff. And I think if anybody wants to disagree with me, that's fine. I understand because Dallas is a more talented team than the New York Giants. But just go back and watch the Sunday game against Green Bay. That game was theirs. They were up 2 touchdowns, and they find a way to blow it. And you can all point the finger at Dak Prescott. He gets a blame for it. He has not been good on 3rd and 4th down. Huge. He's been the worst quarterback since, sorry, Ted, but your guy Tim Tebow. But Mike McCarthy, once again, just doesn't know how to manage late game situations. We've seen it countless amount of times. We saw it against the Chargers last year. We saw it in the preseason last year. We saw it against the Niners last year in the playoff game. We're seeing it again. Mike McCarthy, once again, finding a way to get his job security even in more trouble.
Unlocked.
Yeah, unlock. Let's go. Speaking of lock or unlock it, our final question of the day for lock it or unlock it. And Ted, we'll get back to the AFC. We'll talk about the AFC in general with this question. The Chiefs are the team to beat in the AFC right now. Lock it or unlock it.
Lock it. I don't care what you can tell me about every other team. Tell me about Baltimore, how good they are. Tell me Lamar. They're still dealing with injuries on the outside. Tight end. Bateman's out for the season. So do they have enough of a passing game? I know. Listen, I get it. When Lamar's on, he's good enough of anyone in the entire league to take over a game. But you still need players on the outside to make a play. It's going to come down to a 3rd and 5. Do you have a receiver that can get open, make a play? It comes down to you got to be able to make a play. Your quarterback's not going to be able to scramble forever. So do they have enough outside weapons? Okay, let's start with them. Boom, done. AFC West, they're out. Let's go to the next division, the Titans. They don't have any weapons on the outside. They got rid of their best weapon, so they're out. Let's go to the South. Oh, wait, they all stink.
Oh, you just went to the South. You went to the South.
And then here's what it comes down to. The East. You got the North. Cincinnati. Cincinnati's the only team that really scares me other than the Bills. All right? As much as I love Miami, and I know if Mom was here and then she'd be pissed off, but they're a great regular season thing right now going on in Miami. You got to do it in the playoffs. We talk about this in any sport. You can be the best regular season team. It's a different animal when you get to the playoffs, right? Tua hasn't been there yet. This Miami team hasn't been there. So this might be a team where they win 1 or 2 games and they get beat. But it's okay, we're ready for next year. We're building on something. I don't know if Miami's ready to take that next step right now. Can they be the Bengals of last year? Possibly. But I'm going to still take the Chiefs, bro, because the Chiefs have been there, bro. They got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and I don't care what you say. They're still number 1 in the ball game to me. Andy Reid's, people say Belichick. Andy Reid's the best coach in football right now, bro. Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback in football. They just added another weapon in Kadarius Toney. They just continually find ways to score. They find ways to make plays on defense, and home field advantage is significant for them. So, listen, you're all going to be coming to Kansas City again going, man, how do we beat them?
Well, Cincinnati will be like, okay.
Well, you got to get there, though. Right now, they're the 8 seed. Find love on the best dating site. Thank you very much, sir. I'll find.
Thank you. We don't even know what you are, but you're getting blocked. We don't need you. We don't need no.
Listen, I could ramble. We can break this down. You and me could have this for a 30-minute discussion. The Chiefs are the team to beat, bro. We tried to knock them. They're not good enough. They lost Tyreek Hill. I get it. Tyreek Hill's doing great for Miami. That's why Tua's in the MVP. But Mahomes is a beast, bro. Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. Again, you try to take the crown away from the champ. You said Allen. Allen hasn't proven anything yet. And at the end of the day, it's Mahomes, bro. It's Patrick Mahomes. He's still the best quarterback in football. He always finds a way. You ever notice they don't have games like that in the fourth quarter? He doesn't have a Buffalo Bill experience. Maybe you could say it's Andy Reid. Maybe you could say it's the other personnel.
But that's what it comes down to. It's good coaching. You got to have great coaching.
Then you got to take the Chiefs then. You got to trust the process. You got to trust Spags. Got to trust Spags, and you got to trust.
Here's my question.
And they got 3 different running backs that can run. McKinnon, Pacho. They got Juju. They got this guy. They got that guy. They still have the best tight end in football in Travis Kelce, who's a mismatch on whoever they have to face, and they have home field advantage.
Here's my thing about
this.
If
Buffalo was 8-1 or 9-1, and they were going to have home field, I'd be like, Buffalo's the team to beat. They're not going to have the number 1
Here's
seed.
My thing right now, specifically with this team.
So lock it. Your answer, lock it. Double lock it. Put the belt on it like this. This
So
is
the
what it's
Chief, so right now the Chiefs first in scoring, second in yards per game. Mahomes right now should be the front runner to win MVP. First in
again.
yards per game, touchdowns, QBR, fourth in passer rating. I'm going to stay unlocked. I'm going to stick with the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills need to figure out a way to just take some of that pressure off of Josh Allen and just get back to the basics. Devin Singletary, I mean, do you know the Buffalo Bills right now have more rushing yards per game than the Kansas City Chiefs? The Buffalo Bills are rushing run, and it's a credit
But
to
that
Josh
is
Allen.
that also
They're
with
average they're
Josh
averaging
Allen's yards.
they're averaging 130 yards per game right
Yeah.
now. The
So how many
Chiefs
yards
are
does Josh Allen get?
109. The Chiefs are averaging 109. But they rely so heavily on Patrick Mahomes too. My thing is with the Bills is that if you could just get back to the basics, and I don't think it's losing any players. I think it's like people have been talking about. The addition of Brian Dable to the New York Giants and the loss of Brian Dable for the Buffalo Bills is really showing by stats for the New York Giants, by just the way that the Buffalo Bills have been playing recently. Look at the New York Giants. The Giants are third in rushing right now. What do the Buffalo Bills desperately need to get back to doing? Now, I'm not talking about running it with Josh Allen. I'm talking about just running the
That's why I
football.
didn't understand why they didn't make a move for a better running back at the trade deadline,
Oh, they would probably go.
Like a Kareem Hunt, who the Browns would have took a fourth-round pick. And let's face the facts, Kareem Hunt is better than any running back that they have on that roster. He's more physical. He could be an every down back for them. And then you could have sprinkled in Singletary or Dalvin Cook's brother, James Cook,
And when
or
I
anybody
see
else that wants to play football for them.
and when I see people saying, "Oh, the Bills need to go get Odell Beckham Jr." No, you don't. They have Gabe Davis. They have Isaiah McKenzie. They have Stephon Diggs. They have Dawson Knox. They have Naheem Hines. They have Devin Singletary. They have Zach Moss. Oh, and they have Josh Allen. Why do you need to go get another receiver when your offensive line is a issue too, as well as
I
the
mean,
running
it
attack?
will help that when they get Tre'Davious White back, that will help the
They
defense.
are they are decimated with a lot of injuries in that secondary. But here's also the thing: I know people are saying, "Oh, the Chiefs don't have Tyreek Hill." Well, they just want to go get a guy that is kind of have the skill set. Maybe doesn't have the speed, but it has the skill set like a Tyreek Hill and
Well,
Kadarius
Mahomes
Toney.
also has thrown a touchdown pass to 10 different guys this season. So guess
I
what?
mean,
Sprinkle the love
but
around,
that's the
bro.
thing. It's the spreading the love, but also they find a way. They're trying to get back to running the football too. They're using Isaiah Pacheco, who's been a huge asset for that team. Also, Jerry McKinnon in the passing game. Clyde Edward-Helaire, I don't know where he's been, but if you could get him going, that's
Yeah,
just
but you know
another
what?
weapon.
Like, he'll be the first round of the playoffs, and he'll have like
Yeah, I know.
20 carries for like 100 yards. You're like, he hasn't had 100 yards in like the last
It
5
doesn't
weeks.
make sense.
But
But I'm
that's what
gonna.
makes them special.
I know.
And
If
their
the
offensive line is solid. They
if
have
the
one of the best offensive line in football.
and I think that's the big knock that I don't. Yes, the running attack of the Buffalo Bills is a big eye opener. So is the offensive line. But I think we've been talking about it throughout a lot. The coaching. Is Sean McDermott really a great coach? A defensive minded coach, absolutely. But is he a great coach, like in the sense of an Andy Reid or Bill Belichick? Look, Bill Belichick, he's a defensive minded coach. I know we're saying Bill Belichick, but still, you look at the miscues
Well,
that we've seen
here's
in the
another
past
thing.
couple of years with the
Defensive
Buffalo
minded
Bills.
coaches,
That
assistant
comes down
coaches.
for me. You got the quarterback. You
Todd
got the
Bowles. Todd Bowles down in Tampa. Bruce
But what
Arians
I'm
was the
trying,
guy.
hold on.
Maybe he
What
was
I'm
a
trying to
better
say,
leader for the men,
let
and
me
Todd
just try
Bowles
to
was
finish
better as
this
a
point.
defensive coordinator.
You got the quarterback that can match up with the Mahomes. You got the offense that can match up with the Chiefs. You got the defense. You got a better defense that is better than the Chiefs. It ultimately
Chiefs have better special teams.
Okay, that's fine. It ultimately comes down
Coaching.
to the coaching. It's kind of like the Giants in Dallas.
Well, that and home field advantage.
You probably would give the edge. Well, the Buffalo Bills have been able to win in Kansas City the 2 last regular season games, and if it wasn't for their awful defensive play calling at the last 13 seconds of that divisional round, the Buffalo Bills would have won him beat him 3 straight times. So I'm not going to say that the home field advantage plays a huge part. It does, but let's not just knock the Buffalo Bills. I'm actually going with unlock it to this one. I know that it's crazy, and the Buffalo Bills have been playing really bad, but I'm not getting off the Buffalo Bills bandwagon. I'm not going to get off Josh Allen's bandwagon and winning the MVP and being the best quarterback in the world. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay on the train and see what happens. Maybe we'll get an all New York Super Bowl. Get Buffalo, New York. Let's bring it on. Bring it on, right?
Probably not, but we'll see what happens. Should be
interesting. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yes, that was lock it or unlock it. So what do we have? We both went lock it, lock it, lock it. And then we went unlock it for the last one. Nice. So we're 75%. We're agreeing too much recently.
We have a problem.
Yeah, it's not good. I don't like when we agree. It doesn't make it fun. Doesn't make it fun when we got two brothers not agreeing. That's not a fun thing. But it's been, like I said, this NFL season has been incredible. Every week it's been something to expect. And we'll see what this week brings. We got huge matchups. Got the college football playoff rankings coming out tonight. College basketball is underway. The MLB awards, if you didn't see, we posted our MLB awards on Instagram, Twitter, as well as Facebook. If you didn't get to check out the live show, you can check us out, audio edition, at Spotify, iTunes, Google, and if you have Roku, also, if you have Roku Fire Stick, we are on a channel now, CT Politics Live. So if you have that for Roku, we are on that currently when airing live. But like I said, you can check us out at other social media platforms at Keys to the City. We'll see you next episode. We are out.
You are now in tune to the Keys to the City podcast.